What is up guys, it's D here, and right now I have my 4.2 liter 2012 V8 Audi S5, and I mentioned 4.2 liter because there's a 3.0 version and that one's a turbo. This one's naturally aspirated. We're gonna do an oil change on it and we're gonna do it the easy way. So this is what we're gonna need for this oil change. This is gonna be the easier route where you don't drain it from underneath but you go through the dipstick tube. So let's start from the left. I have right there, that's an engine oil, which is, as you can see, 5W40, and here's the filter for it. It's a 57330. There's more expensive ones on Amazon. This one's a cheap one. You don't really need an expensive one since they're mostly about the same and they do the same functions anyways. And you're gonna be changing your oil a lot anyways, you know, because you'd want to do that instead of just buying an expensive one and doing it every 10,000 miles. I do it every 5,000 miles. Some people even do it at 3,000 miles, but for me, 5,000 is my magic number. Now you need this big adjustable wrench. You can use other ones, but you'll see what we're gonna use it for later. It's basically for the housing for the filter. Just to untwist it, that's what we're gonna use. I apologize for my heater, it turned on. Now I have this little jug right here. This is where we're gonna put the dirty oil, the used oil. And right here is the magic tool. There's gonna be my electric pump. It's basically a liquid transfer pump that we're gonna retrofit to use as for oil changing. Now I used to use a manual pump, but that one, it's a very slow process, and it's not as slow, but I don't really like pumping by myself, so I'd rather just use this. Now you see we have tubing in here that's gonna go, one side's gonna go to this and then the other side's gonna go through the dipstick tube. Got some rags just in case I make a mess, and then a battery. Now the battery is just any regular 12-volt battery that you're gonna connect, as you can see, to your pump. So moving on, I already popped the cover off of there. That's too easy. Now you want to pop the cover because the oil filter housing is actually here. She's right there. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention it earlier, but I actually have 15 quarts of oil. You only need 9. I just happened to have an extra bottle, so I ended up with 15. And now this is what I was talking about. So first you're gonna locate this, because this is basically, you can convert this into a dipstick. I didn't do that, so I still have this plug right here, but that's where your piping or your tubing is gonna go to drain the oil. So back to the setup. Now as you can see, I have this smaller hose and the other one I was showing earlier, and it's pretty deep in there. It actually stopped going anymore, so I believe that's the bottom of the pan. And then got my pump right here, got the exit hose right here directly to this container, and then got my battery connectors onto the battery. Now before we start that, I just wanted to make sure everything is good. Filters, rags. Alright, so now I'm about to start it. Connect the pump to the battery. I actually have it on a box just because it's pretty low down there, so it wouldn't reach the pump. See what happens. Of course, positive to positive, negative to negative. And there's a pump in action. As you can see, it is actually working pretty well. It's kind of noisy, but it's doing its job. Let's see how much this is actually flowing. See, it is actually flowing pretty well. So as you can see also, there's a restriction on where this is, and that is because this is actually a bigger, as you can see, a bigger hose than the rest of it, so that's why it's getting restricted here. And that is just because we have, you know, the pipe is so small we couldn't, the dipstick pipe is so small that we couldn't fit a bigger hose in there. So maybe that you can find something that fits better. That'll be better. So that is it, guys. I think that's done right there. As soon as he was having a hard time pulling any more oil, that should be about the end of it. Now it's just a matter of taking the oil filter off, replacing it, and then putting new oil in. So let's do that. Alright, so first take the housing cover off. This shouldn't be too tight anyways, because you don't want to thread that too much. Just pull that filter out as such, and yeah, exactly, that's what you don't want to happen. That's why I brought a rag. After you pull the housing and the filter off, just separate them. This is a bit of a pain every time I try to do it, but I just try to put as much rags in there just so I don't really get the engine bay any dirtier than it is. Just have to pop it off. There you go. That did it. Alright, as soon as it's popped off, check if everything's good in your housing, and then install your new filter. So as you can see, this goes onto the outside. So when we pulled it out, that's on the outside, and this will be your inside. This part actually goes into a hole in the housing, so make sure you align it to that hole, press it in. It's gonna lock in there, it's not gonna rotate anymore. After that, just put your cover, tighten it, hand tighten. Now and if you can't hand tighten anymore, just grab your little wrench, then just kind of, get it in snug in there. Now that I'm done with replacing the filters, all I gotta do now is just fill it up with new oil, which should be here. Right, that's where you fill it up. I just like wiping everything down as I see it, because it does get dirty in there. But you don't want to get contaminants from the outside into your engine, so don't wipe it too much. Then you just gotta fill it up. Start spilling some oil. Now you can also use a funnel. I'm just too lazy to find my funnel, and that will make it way easier than this, but this is fine as well. So this is gonna be 5 quarts right here. It's about to be done. I would put 8 and then check the oil level. If it's too low, I can always add. If it's too much, it's harder to actually it's a longer process to drain it a little bit, so I'd rather just overestimate what I'm putting and then just add later. It wouldn't hurt the engine anyways, it wouldn't hurt the car to do that, unless you put way less or not put any oil at all. Alright, here's where we're at. I've already put the new oil filter in there, covered it up, and put new engine oil on it. Now all we have to do is just cover it up. There you are. It's always easier with 2 hands. Covered it up. No more tools in here. And that should be it. So with that being said, that is a very easy way to do your oil change on this 2012 Audi S5. Now you can do it on other cars. I just don't know exactly which ones, but as long as you have your oil filter up top, or even if you don't have it up top, it's just a couple more steps. But as long as you have a dipstick tube, you can drain it through that, and it will be a lot less mess and a lot faster, and you can just leave it draining by itself and it will make your life way easier. So with that being said, thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe, click like, and comment down below if you have any more questions or suggestions or whatnot to make this whole process easier. But for me, it is very easy. So thank you very much for watching. See you in the next one.